because you do give some detail in the book, but I wanted to know like from like straight off the rip mental perspective on
Mhm.
like essentially what that felt like. Was like was it an isolated feeling?
Hmm. It's a great question. So like I guess for those that don't maybe know specifically what you're talking about,
Mhm.
I started out with the book sharing a lot of the just the difference in perspectives of what happens with like so I have something that they call dissociative identity disorder, which means or it used to be classified as multiple personality disorder. And this arises
Yeah.
when people go through extreme trauma, extreme forms of abuse, and the mind will separate itself in order to endure the trauma that's taking place and create a literal trauma pocket, a trauma neural network that's like isolated and separated from the rest of the main core of the identity of the personality. And that's as a survival mechanism to overcome what is an inescapable, overwhelming, just inundation. Like even you were just sharing in your story, like you don't remember the entirety of the events of what happened from when you dove into the water to, popping awake occasionally, but your body still was physically present for throughout the time in that. There's times when you were awake and talking to people that you don't physically remember. And
Yeah,
your brain is
exactly.
going through something so extreme and so traumatic, it starts to lock away and isolate segments of itself in order to overcome what is an insurmountable situation. And so my
Hmm.
body went through horrible abuse and systemic abuse that was designed to shatter the mind and cause trauma that created new personalities. And those core
Yeah.
personalities were then utilized by an organized criminal organization, a syndicate that was masterminded by the Black Robe priests of the Jesuits down in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, and abroad all over the United States, and specifically centered in Arizona, where my family was raising criminals to do all kinds of filthy, disgusting stuff. And so I was trapped in that kind of mindset. But on my core side of my main they call it like your presenting self or whatever else, was just a
Okay.
very more or less happy, jovial person who went by the name Nate all the time. And
Yeah.
there was a very distinct version of that was very alive and bubbly and happy and a very strong kind of Christian character. And it's like my day side, my presenting side. But then at night, I had this very different side to myself that was extremely depressed, extremely lonely and bitter and filled with night terrors, just inexplicable, constant dread of the night. I had horrible insomnia growing up throughout my life, just teeth chattering, dread, peeing the bed, bleeding out my nose constantly, puking blood into the toilet, just terror that would just creep over me and consume me at night, and just this
Mhm.
absolute shakes and tremors constantly, like a restlessness and a hypervigilance, like had to stay awake and watch out the window and watch at the cracks of everyone's doors and walk around the house and make sure everyone's where they were supposed to be, and jamming chunks of wood under the doors to make sure that nobody was getting in. Just this absolute dread that things were coming into the night to take me and devour me. And so I kind of went through this life with this really split aspect of who I was. And it really, on the front side of my life, was never really presented. I didn't share that out really until high school, when I started going to I changed schools constantly. My family moved me around all the time to hide the obvious signs of abuse and all. It's hard to really when you start having major physical trauma happening on an ongoing basis, it's hard to not
Mhm.
make it noticeable.
Yeah.
It becomes clear that something's really going wrong with this child. If you spend enough time around any teacher or any friend group, sooner or later somebody has a dim wit around that's like, oh, something's super jacked up with this guy, and what's going on. And I really, so my family, anytime I kind of popped up onto the radar anywhere, if it was for excellence or for idiocracy, I masked a lot of who I was with just playing dumb and acting like the class clown. I figured out that you could kind of distract everyone if you were just acting stupid and kind of self-harming.
Relatable.
Yeah, yeah. And just kind of became a jokester. And I was moving around all the time, so I didn't have like a solid friend group ever. As soon as I had a solid, like strong relational tie with anyone, my family moved me. And
Yep.
so there was just this like constant displacement, just disruption, a perpetual disruption to who I was and what was going on with me all the time. And so I lived between that schism. And it really wasn't until I was like, I don't know, my parents homeschooled me when I was 15, and
Mhm.
I was so trapped around the constant like mind control, just trapped. Like it was the obsession that year was just like nonstop obsession with like military stuff. It was like only ever military stuff. They were really grooming me to go into the United States Air Force Academy and to become this soldier for them. And so it was just continual, perpetual that, and like violent military games, like video games, like perpetually. And anyways,
Yeah.
I was like stuck there for a long time. And then I went to a public high school after that, and it was like game on. You know, it was like finally I had freedom to kind of pick my peer group. And I finally, like, my physical body had been stunted from so much trauma for so long that I never like grew after. I was like under 5 foot till I was 17 years old. Like I didn't grow right. My feet never grew right. My feet still never grew properly. Like my body was physically stuck and trapped in that age for so long. And I looked very young. And so that's what was part of like what catered to abuse for so long. But when I finally kind of started becoming a man, you know, like girls were really attracted to me. And so I really got into like seeking out attention from girls. And that was the first time in relationships that like I had my own cell phone and I started talking to girls at night. And then I was just this very dark other person, you know, and that was the first inkling of that I ever started sharing with other people. I shared about self-mutilation. I started sharing about how I would drug myself to oblivion at night and all of this other side of me that I'd never loosed anywhere else. I started drinking, and the first time I got drunk with one of my best friends, I just cried uncontrollably in a hot tub, just cried hysterically like I've never cried, just like overwhelming sorrow. Anytime I took mind-altering substances, it was just uncontrollable sorrow, just like somebody was dying, you know, like I was dying all the time. And so I didn't drink. Nobody wanted to drink with me after that. It's not exactly the life of the party. So it was just like I got into this place in my life where I was in the United States military, and I went and got a part of all of these like super soldier psycho killer programs where, yeah, I just volunteered for every opportunity they wanted. I could ever want to go just hunt people down. I just wanted vengeance so bad. I wanted to kill people, and I wanted to be killed. That was it. I had a deep, deep, deep desire to die, but I didn't want to kill myself. I always wanted to die, but I never wanted to kill myself. So I just wanted somebody else to kill me and die a hero's death. Like in our culture, it's just like the gods of the military are the only like men that were allowed to be like, you're a real man, you know? And so when I ended up going through this season where I was finally like a part of a team and finally a part of a brotherhood. And it even sounded like when I was reading your story, that was something like you were really desiring to go into as the military, or your mom at least was saying she really wanted you to go to the military. She thought the structure would really help you and all the rest of that. And
Yeah.
but she's like, somebody else take this boy and make him into this, you know.
We're in a different military now. So
yeah, true story, man. The father's always recruiting, man. There's a way better army that's always recruiting. And it doesn't care how many felonies you have, by the way. Just
definitely
saying.
not.
And